first question. In the process of passage and disqualification, record for gaining Indian citizenship can be altered by the process and qualifications required for gaining Indian citizenship can be altered by the parliamentary legislation. Is that correct? So here Indian citizens can be disqualified required for gaining Indian citizens. The process of disqualification required for gaining Indian citizenship, it is parliamentary legislation. Others not, an executive not, and special constitutional amendment not, a special constitutional amendment with consent from the majority of states. Next question. With reference to the regulation and development of groundwater in India, answer to the following statement. Atal Bhujal Yojana is centrally sponsored scheme focusing extensive on hardware aquifers. Not correct. Central Groundwater Authority is regulating groundwater development in all the states and units of India. It's not correct. CGWA was constituted under the Water Protection Act 1986. Not correct. The Central Groundwater Board is a subordinate office of the Ministry of Water Resources, Government of India. So it is correct. So 4 is the correct. So here with reference to regulation and development of groundwater of India in India, the Central Groundwater Board is a subordinate office of the Minister of Water Resources, Government of India. So first is not correct. Statement 1 reaches 36,000 crore central sector scheme, Ministry of Water Resource, River Development and Ganga Rejuvenation. The scheme aims to improve the groundwater management in priority areas in the country through community participation. The scheme is to implement over a period of 5 years from 2018 to 19 and 22 to 23 with World Bank assistance. The priority areas the priority areas identified under the scheme and fall in the states of Gujarat, Haryana, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, and Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, and these states represent the 25% of total number of our exploited critical and semi-critical blocks in terms of groundwater in India. They also cover two major types of groundwater systems found in India: alluvial and hard rock aquifers, and a varying degree of institutional readiness and experience in groundwater management. 2 and 3 Statement 2 and 3 only 13 of the Indian states and UT have enacted legislation on the lines of the model bill suggested by the Union government to regulate and control development and management of groundwater in the country. So 4 is the correct. Which of these constitutional bodies are functionally autonomous from the government? All are correct. So here you can see Election Commission of India, constitutional bodies are functionally autonomous. So Election Commission of India autonomous from the government, and CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, and State Public Service Commission. The Minaka case 1978 is famously known for wider interpretation of the Article 21. The Minaka case is famously known for wider interpretation of the Article 21. Minaka case of the Supreme Court overruled the judgment of the Gopalan case. Wider interpretation of the Article 21, therefore, the ruled that the right to life and personal liberty of a person can be deprived by law, provide the procedure and prescribed by that is reasonable, fair and just. So the Minaka case 1978 is famously known for wider interpretation of the Article 21, And second is Dodis is rebalancing of fundamental rights and directive principle. It's not correct. So it is mainly Article 21 to interpretation करना होगा. Consider the following statements about partnership to advance clean energy. PACED. It is a flagship program of the USA and India. It is correct. Works in India to promote low carbon growth through clean energy and innovative financing mechanisms. So, partnership to advance clean energy (PACED) is the flagship program of the USA and India. It works in India to promote low carbon growth through clean energy and innovative financing mechanism. So both are correct. So here, which of these constitutional provisions give the judiciary the power of judicial review? It is Article 13, which says laws ultra vires, the Constitution shall be void. Article 32, which gives the Supreme Court the power to issue rights. Article 2026, which gives High Courts the power to issue rights. Article 226 gives High Court to power. Gives High Court the power to issue rights. Article 32, which gives Supreme Court the power to issue rights. And Article 13, which says ultra vires, the Constitution shall have void. Section 141 and 144 Criminal Procedure Code 1973 that are often heard in news deal with Article 141 and Section 141 and Section 144 of Criminal Procedure Code that are often heard in news deal with reasonable restriction on freedom of assembly, but two is not correct. Power of civil administration to impose martial law. It's not correct, but one is correct. Reasonable restriction on freedom of assembly. One is correct. Reasonable restriction on freedom of assembly. Article 100, Section 141 and 144 of Criminal Procedure Code. So here you can see under Section 144, the magistrate can restrain an assembly meeting or procession if there is a risk of obstruction, annoyance, or danger to human life, health, or safety, or a disturbance of the public utterance, tranquility, or a riot, or any affair. Under Section 141 of the Penal Code, an assembly of 5 or more persons become unlawful if the object is to resist the execution of any law or legal process, to forcibly occupy the property of some persons, to commit any mischief or criminal trespass, to threaten the government or its official on exercising unlawful powers, to force some persons to do an illegal act. Consider the following statements following about Clean Development Mechanism. Clean Development Mechanism (CDM) allows industrialized countries to buy certified emissions reduction and to invest in emission reduction in developing economies. 2 is not correct. Additionally, it is ignored as an assessment factor for qualifying of projects under CDM. CDM, Clean Development Mechanism, allows industrialized countries to buy certificate emission reduction or and to invest in emission reduction in developing economies. So A is the correct. CDM is the defined protocol allows the country with an emission reduction or emission limitation commitment under the Kyoto Protocol Annex B party to implement the emission reduction project in developing countries. Such projects can earn C-level certified emission reduction credits, each equivalent to 1 ton of carbon dioxide, which can be counted towards meeting quota targets. Statement 2. If emission reduction in a project under would have happened anyway, it is not counted as part of CDM in order to maintain the environmental effectiveness or the quiet protocol. Emission saving from CDM must be additional. World Bank 2010. Without additionally the CDM amounts to an income transfer to non-Annex 1 countries. Additionally is however difficult to prove and is the subject to a very vigorous debate. After the following statements, so here one is correct. The IISS Asia Security Summit is known as the Shangri-La Dialogue. One is correct. But second and third are not correct. Munich Security Conference has its origin in the first Gulf War 1991. It's not correct. The Raisina Dialogue, a multilateral conference held annually in India, is hosted by the Institute of Peace and Conflict Studies. It is not correct. So here you can see in second statement second. The Shangri-La Dialogue take one intergovernmental security held the Shangri-La Dialogue is the track one intergovernmental security forum. Security Forum held annually by an independent think tank, International Institute for Strategic Studies, which is attended by Defense Ministry, permanent heads of ministries and military chief of 28 Asia Pacific. The forum gets its name from the Shangri-La Hotel in Singapore, where it has been held since 2002. Summit serves to cultivate sense of community among the most important policymakers in the defense and security community in the region. A unique security conference is an annual conference on international security policy that has taken place in Munich, Bavaria since 1963. Former names are Warkundentegang and Muncher Conference for Sicherheitspolitik, the world's largest gathering of its kind, and S63 International Security Policy Munich. Over the first 4 decades, the Munich Security Conference has become the most important independent forum for the exchange of view by international security policy decision makers. The Raisina Dialogue is a multilateral conference held annually in Delhi, in New Delhi, since its inception in 2016. The conference has emerged as India's flagship conference on geopolitics, politics, and geoeconomics. The conference is hosted by the Observer Research Foundation, the independent think tank, in collaboration with the Ministry of External Affairs in India. The conference is structured as a multi-stakeholder, cross-sectional discussion involving a variety of global policymakers, including heads of states, cabinet ministers, and local government officials. In addition, the dialogue has welcomed major private sector executives as well as members of the media and academia. It is designed on the lines of Singapore's Shangri-La Dialogue. So you can see. So first is the correct. The IISS Asia Security Summit was also known as Shangri-La Dialogue. The Supreme Court has vested with original and wide powers for defending the fundamental rights of citizens. What do you understand the original powers of Supreme Court? Citizens may approach the Supreme Court directly without necessarily going through appeals from lower courts. Courts may approach the Supreme Court directly without necessarily going through appeals from lower courts. So 2 is the correct. No, yes, 2 is the correct. Supreme Court holds the power exclusively. It's not correct one. But citizens may approach Supreme Court directly without necessarily going through appeals from lower courts. So 2 is the correct answer. So if you see, so first is in case of enforcement of fundamental rights, the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court is reasonable but not exclusive. It's concurrent with the jurisdiction of the High Court under Article 2026. It has original power in the High Courts to issue directions, rules, and rights of all kinds for enforcement of fundamental rights. It means when the fundamental rights of citizens or citizen violated, the aggrieved party has the option of moving either the High Court or the Supreme Court directly. So thank you. Next we discuss another question. The last question it is: consider the following statements, following states and their state animals. So here Tamil Nadu Nilgiri thought it's correct. The others are Andhra Pradesh spotted deer knot, and Telangana black back knot, and Kerala Indian giant squirrel knots. So here you can see state bird, the four layers after the bifurcation of the Andhra Pradesh, the government of the residual state has announced its state symbol, state bird Ramachul, Chiluka, or rose-ranged parakeet, state animal black buck, or Krishna Janika, state tree name of Vipa Chittu. So thank you. Okay, last question. State legislature can make laws to enforce two and three directive principles of state policy and fundamental duties. State legislature can make law enforce, but fundamental rights is not correct. Fundamental duties and directive principles of state policy. First is not correct because most of them are directly enforceable, while the few of them can be enforced by on the basis of a law for giving effect to them. Such a law can be made only by the parliament, not by the state legislature. So the uniformity throughout the country is maintained. Article 35 is incorrect. In ninth schedule was initially created outside the ambit of judicial review in order to pursue nationalization and land distribution. So ninth schedule, nationalization and land distribution created outside the ambit of judicial review. First is correct, but second, third are not correct. B, C, D not correct. Which of the following is not a part of the JAM Trinity? It is PAN card. Which of the following not a part, but others are part? Bank account, mobile phone, and other number is a JAM Trinity, but a PAN card is not JAM Trinity. The validity of environmental coordinate curve would lead us to believe that pollution is an acceptable side effect of GDP growth. Yes, pollution's harmful effects of GDP growth. Okay, so here you can see. Mainly in developing country. So in economics, coordinate graphs is hypothesis that the economy developed market force first increase in the then increase and then decrease economic inequality. First advanced by Simon Kuznets in the 1950 and 1960, but others are not correct. GDP growth and environmental degradation cannot go together, but are not correct. So you can see it. So thank you. Next we discuss another question. So thank you.